T2 Book Club, Caliban's War has been completed. So, what can I say about this book? I like how it keeps the same quality as the Leviathan Wakes. And it introduces a couple of new characters. You get Barbie Draper, a Martian gunnery sergeant, and you get Praxidike Ming, a botanist from Ganymede. And so if you like military stuff, and if you like botany, I mean, you're going to get some stuff about that in here. It's basically the mission to get Praxidike's daughter that's been kidnapped from the project where they're taking the proto-molecule and they're trying to make soldiers out of it. And these kids, they don't have immune systems, so it's easier to get it to work with them, and it's like really cruel and shit. There was this one line on page 587. You also get a lot of what's her name? Christian Avasarala. She's like the UN Secretary General or something, Undersecretary. I don't know what it is. The politics is weird. For Earth, right? And she always cusses a lot, and she's got this really smoky voice in the TV show. So they save this little girl, and she's like, "Son of a fucking whore," and then the little girl's like, "What's a whore, Daddy?" And then Prax says, "It's a kind of frost, honey, like hoar frost." So that was kind of funny. That was right at the end. But yeah, so I wanted to show you guys a clip from the TV show, the episode called Doors and Corners. Really good. It's like one of the best episodes of the show. Like, everything happens. You've got Avasarala. She recruits this guy, Kotyar, and he's like played by the guy that was on Spartacus, who played Asher, and he's really good as a spy. Nick Terabay is the guy's name. And so that's going on. And then you got the guy who plays Fred Johnson, the black guy on Tycho. There's this uprising of a faction that's trying to fuck with him, and he just takes him and chucks him out an airlock. It's so badass. And then you got the guy who plays Miller from Hung, HBO show. That guy, he's really good. And he like gives himself a mohawk, and he joins the assault squad because they're going to go onto this research station and like figure out. There's these scientists that are like working with the proto-molecules. They have this whole plan set up. And you got Alex, the pilot, and he's like doing these runs over and over again to like figure out how to kill this stealth ship without blowing his ship up, and they keep failing every time. So he actually has to do it, and they get shot a bunch, but somehow they survive. And then they start launching the assault teams with these like FedEx containers, and that really like sends a signal home like we're in like actual reality. This is like sci-fi of not some fictional universe. It's like FedEx boxes, sending dudes out in these boxes. And there's this guy named Diogo, who's like a young Belta guy, right? And he's like badass. He's trying to get Miller all psyched up. Miller's like throwing up. And then first fucking thing, he gets shot in the head. Diogo does. And then it turns out to be like a non-lethal round. It was like a paint, rubbery, goo kind of stuff. So he was like, fine. He's like, I'm invincible, right? And they're like, it's just so badass. So much stuff happens. There's space battles, there's like assaults going on, like ground assaults, and there's intrigue, and there's just so much stuff happening. But Caliban's War, there's a thing about the way the TV show happens and the way the books happen. There's like it's a little bit off-centered, because they only introduced like a couple or three new characters in this one. But after I read Leviathan Wakes, I went back and I started watching season 1. Because I didn't really like season 1 the first time I watched it. Now I'm really liking it because I know what's going on. Then I got to season 2, and that should be what happens in this book, but it's a little bit not. Because season 2, they introduced my favorite character, Carmina Drummer, whatever. She has a weird accent. I love her accent. But she plays like the most badass Belter woman. And she's not in this book at all. But the way season 1 ended was Eros landed on Venus. And that started the whole proto-molecule starting to do its thing where it's creating the thing that's going to make the Abaddon's Gate, which is going to be the third book. That's how this book ended. Like the thing shot off from Venus. But this season 2 of the show, I think it started off with Bobby Draper shooting one of those proto-molecule soldiers because there was a conflict with the UN. They thought the UN was attacking them, and it was actually they were running from the proto-molecule soldier, and that kind of caused confusion. They thought Earth and Mars were going to war, and actually they were running to the Martians for help because they knew they were Marines and just going to back them up because they leave no man behind, all this kind of stuff. So everybody except Bobby Draper dies, and she has this whole thing like with her suit, getting her suit back, and it's just so badass. But like the thing was like, what was it? Bobby Draper. That thing happened after the Venus incident, but the Venus incident hadn't happened yet in the show. So it's like they're having stuff happen earlier than it does in the books, in the TV show, so the timelines are a little bit off. Like there's this guy named Anderson Dawes in season 2 of the show. He's not in this book at all. So he should have already, him and Drummer, I guess if he's in the series, I guess he's in the book. Like maybe they just added him in like as a different character. Like this other guy later on in season 4 or 5, whatever, that has like the sun and they launched the rocks at Earth or something, right? Like, but he hasn't appeared yet. And the whole thing with when they took the Mormon ship, the Nauvoo, and they tried to ram arrows, that was a different. It happened in a different order, I think, than the stuff that happened in the book. So it's a little bit weird. If you weren't trying to watch the TV show and read the books at the same time, the stuff's happening a little bit off. Because I'm pretty sure, like, Drummer was part of that Nauvoo incident, but she's not even in this book. So I'm assuming she's in the next book. I'm going to, like, skim through and see if I can see Drummer in the next one. I'm going to start reading it now anyway, probably. But, yeah, The Expanse is top quality. Top notch. The episode after Doors and Corners, where they... I forgot what it was called. I think it's where... What did they infiltrate? They didn't infiltrate the spaceship. They infiltrated the actual guy that Miller shot in the head, I think. No, that was that place. There was something else in the next episode right after that was really good, too. I don't remember what it was. Anyway, highly recommend.